What's up, guys? It's your boy Cory Talaska. It's been a while, I know, so I'm sorry about that. You can hit me if you see me or anything like that. But what I want to film today to kind of maybe get back on track is a 2019 update. What happened this year? So much happened between the last video of when we were, I think, still not done with the 2J swap to now. Here we are, 8 months later. I don't even remember when the last video was posted. Getting ready for next season, building a C-Time car with a C46 M3 right here, and have our Pro 2 license. So a ton amount of stuff happened. I want to kind of go through all of it. I don't want it to take too long, but I just kind of want to update any of you who guys are following on YouTube. So we're gonna go through the dyno, because that was the first thing. Car got finished, we went to the dyno, I got some videos of the runs, and then we're gonna go, we did one local event at Myrtle Beach, which was the shakedown event. So I'll put some clips in from that and some pictures. The car had the big Duck Club rears were still white, so the car was really low for that event, and it looked pretty sick. The pictures came out nice. And then the final event of the year, which was the Midwest Drift Union shootout, which was the only comp that we went to, or the Pro-Am comp that we went to all year. We only went to 2 events this year, and we came out on podium and got our Pro 2 license with the new setup. So I'm really excited about all that stuff. We'll cover it, we'll go through it, and but first, I gotta show you guys the new setup. So let's do that. So this is the engine bay. It looks way different from the BMW, but I'm extremely happy with it. It's painted white, all that stuff. All of our cooling is now flipping -16 with our rear mount. It was in a previous video with all Rad Industries parts. This sheet metal intake with a 90mm throttle body, maybe a little bit too big. I'd love to go down a little. I'd love to get a new one that potentially would have a little bit less lag time. But this is it. The whole corner up here just chase bayed out. Power steering, the new dual reservoir brake setup, the brake master, no booster or anything like that. This is literally one of the biggest changes that I've went through this year as far as driving the car, because with brakes. Suspension's the same. We got a KRC power steering pump, a Rad Industries, I don't remember the brand but he sells, but it's this alternator, and it's super sick because a lot of people with 2Js have alternator issues. Still the same setup in here, minus now everything is just this arc panel versus before it was gauges, switches all over the place. We got the AEM CD5 dash, Chase Bray's handbrake, 1,000 times better than what I had previously. Way less slop, feels way smoother, super hyped. I flipped the IRP shifter around. In my guide to making it, I had it the other way, and I flipped it around, and I actually like it a lot better. So that's that. This is obviously a change of pace from what it was before. We did all the sheet metal here with that, just a Harbor Freight brake, and it worked really nice, honestly. For the first time, it still no smoke in the car whatsoever, no matter what, even if I'm chasing someone. And of course, the good old rear mount radiator setup that you guys did get to see in one of my last videos. Works flawlessly. Engine runs cool. After we did some proper bleeding techniques, everything turned out pretty nice. The new big Duck Club rears look way better. So now you guys saw the car setup. I hope you like that little deal. We're gonna go into dyno, the tune. Vlad from National Speed, he's the one who tuned this car. It took 4 or 5 hours, but it was smooth sailing. We felt really good. We found out where our limit was with our fueling. Everything by Works, which we're probably gonna upgrade so we can get a little bit more power out of it for next year. But I'll post some of the dyno clips right now with the power, and then I'll see if I can find the dyno sheet. I'll post up the dyno sheet on the screen. The thing absolutely rips on the dyno, and this is still before I've only driven it like out of the garage into the trailer, and then basically got driven onto the dyno, and that was it. That was the only driving the car saw. So they wanted me to do a burnout national speed, but I was like, I kind of want to wait till I can like take it to a track so I can just feel comfortable with it. But that's what we did, which is the next topic, which is the Myrtle Beach drift event. So Myrtle Beach was the perfect like test event. It was the perfect shakedown. It's only an hour and a half away. We drive there. Dustin Miles came out from Atlanta, so it was a perfect dude to drive with and tandem with for the shakedown. And he kind of gave me some insight because he drives a JZ on what to expect like when driving it. And he was totally right. The power band where it's like nothing, 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 and then just everything all the way from start a boost till finish a boost. And that was, I think, what I was looking for. It fits a lot of my driving style. I'm sure an LS I could like too, with just having power instantly, but there's something about like the whole style of the car with the JZ, and then also seeing what pros run and stuff. I mean, it's basically a wash between 2Js and LSs, but I definitely am glad that we put all the money and went with the 2J. So I'll put some clips of the actual drifting and some pictures up right now, so you guys can just check out. This was like my first time driving it, but it was absolutely a blast. So as you can see, the car ripped, the car looked good, I was totally happy with it. We did fight some cooling issues at the start of the day, but it was just because the system wasn't bled properly, and we fixed that. So that was the only little concern, but that was what that event was for, was to shake it down, to figure out those little issues, and luckily we did. Came out of the event basically loving the setup of the car. This is the first time we added some excessive motorsport rear trailing arm plates that allowed us more adjustability. We were never able to get actually negative rear toe like ever, so now we are actually able to get that in the car for this year, and it changed the game. I've never been able to drive up on people and have that sort of control and adjustability in like my chase tandem ever, so that was huge, and I really liked that. That was one of the biggest things that I liked besides learning to drive with the 2J at that event. Secondly, thirdly, fourth, I don't remember, MDU shootout, Pro-Am event. Tons of like stacked cars. I mean, there was tons of pro. There was probably like 4 or 5 like really like solid Pro 2 level cars there, and everyone else had really good cars, and everyone was a good driver. It was one of the most intense events that I've ever been at, especially how practice day, we felt like we had the wrong gearing all day. It was really weird. We ran Velino tires. We ran 245, 35 18s, and the tire was amazing, but for some reason the car didn't feel how I guess I wanted it to feel. We tried a bunch of different setups. We changed rear toe, we changed a little bit of front toe, we changed it was mainly right hand turns, so we made a little bit of a shock adjustment on the right rear. We made a bunch of changes, and we were all getting closer and closer to where the car was just dialed and on point, but for some reason gearing just wasn't there. I changed the rear dips. We went from a 391 to a 356 like super quick. I was like, this is gonna be it. A little bit more in third is gonna be what I need to feel comfortable on the track. And it wasn't. It was too much. It would have been perfect for leads, and then you put me in a chase position behind a car that wasn't booking it around the track, or someone that checks up a little bit, I'd have been screwed. I mean, I would have been like clutch kicking to save my life, and that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to just drive the car. So after practice, basically the full 8-hour practice, changed gear back to a 391, and then went into comp day like basically, all right, we just hope this is gonna work. So in the day went really smooth. The first time I went on the track against my first battle, it just like, car felt great. I don't know if it was probably a combination of the weather a little bit and everything, but everything felt really good. I turned up the boost setting to 3 on the trim pot, so we were at the full 650 wheel horsepower, and we were we were ripping. I got really comfortable. One of the biggest things, the changes that I think I improved from last year was my line throttle commitment. Before I had a really good line all the time in my leads and stuff, but my throttle commitment just wasn't there. You know, it wasn't just plumes of smoke the whole time. I wasn't going fast. This year, I've been practicing on the sim, doing a bunch of stuff. We were in the throttle. We got tons of compliments on how smooth and committed we were, and I feel like that's definitely my driving style, so I wanted to make sure that I could lock that down.
Bryson Cook chasing down Cory Talaska, longtime pro-am driver, but good initiation by Cory, kind of a late initiation, but high on the bank. A little bit of a gap forming on this infield transition between these two drivers. Big, deep angle, and Cory Talaska right up on the wall. You see that here early in the morning here at Cook there, but Bryson Cook maintaining still that large gap through the infield. Cory Talaska maneuvering through the infield with ease. The E36 looking solid. Bryson Cook.
So, I mean, battle after battle after battle, we made it all the way. And then once there was that one battle, it wasn't for the finals. It was basically for like the top 4 battle. And since I picked a pill that was number 3 the day before, or number 2. It was number 2 the day before. If I won that battle and it put me into the top 4, and top 1 was already knocked out, I automatically got 3rd. So even though I wanted to win, of course I wanted to win, that one battle where if I won it, I was locked in for at least 3rd was huge, because that means our goal for this year, even though we didn't start it 6 months late, was to get a Pro 2 license, because we felt that we had the car really close to do it. We feel like we have the racing experience just over the last 16 years of my pops and I racing, that's the format that we want to be in and push for. So when we won that battle, which was super close, it was with Canadian homie, that was huge. That was like a huge stress leave off my shoulder, and then I was ready to go into the final battles just with to have fun and try to win. Unfortunately, right away, I was chasing Mike Pollard, and he lost his 3rd gear. That no one can expect for that to happen, and I was right on his door, and I hit him with my right front. You can actually see the scuff on the VSKF, and you can see the tie rod. It was bent way worse than that. We actually used our 5-minute timeout to fix it, because it took longer than what we were allotted, because he was at fault. And then we went out there, and all we had to do was run a lap, but our toe was so whacked out. The car just rotated on a center axis. It was really whack, but we went through a battle with that. Battled Josh Love. He beat me awesome. He was on point. My car still was feeling so out there, but it was such a blast. Came home 3rd, took home some money, and now here we are campaigning for the 2020 season to hopefully drive in Pro 2. Got the E46 M3, which I don't need to talk about too much. This has actually been my daily. Big Duck Club is throwing some fenders on here. Gonna get some 3-piece wheels on it. Probably get a tune that's going to be like a stock DME tune from a guy out in Cali that RJ suggested me, and we'll put some angle on it, and we're going to rip this thing. So this will be a seat time, so it's not, because this is expensive to drive no matter what I do. This can be something that I can hopefully get a lot of drive time in and feel comfortable with, so that'll be big for next year, I think. And since it'll be cheaper to run, it'll also be easier for me to go to more events, more sponsor, promotion, more everything. I know I've been rambling for a while, but this is kind of all the stuff that's been leading up to what we've been doing since I started building the C36 way back in the day, that I wanted to be a street driver, and now here it sits as 650 horsepower, 2J. There's not a single bolt on this car that I haven't touched, redid. I know this car better than anything I've ever known, and I'm just really hyped to basically make the moves. I want to get a quick change in the car. I want to get a stronger tranny in the car. I want to put a fuel cell in the car so I can have, better setup for a fuel surge tank, more fuel pump, more fueling, more comfortable power. The engine's ready for it. That's kind of the whole array of things that our plan is. So we got a lot to do as far as cleaning up the car. I want to find someone to design a full crazy livery that's going to work with Loot Complex, one of my sponsors, so we can kind of do some sick anime stuff. And that's kind of the whole spectrum of what I want to do. Hopefully I can bring my camera out here and we can show the progress that we're going to make on the C-Time E46 M3 and the progress that's going to be making the final transition from this into its full Pro 2 setup. So that's all the stuff that I hope you guys are hyped for. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, because that is one of the best ways, like that's my most active social media, so check that out. I also have a Twitter, and obviously you're on my YouTube. And then I do still have a website, CoryTalaska.com, so check that out for merch. This is one of my shirts that came out. It's a team shirt. It's got my name on the back, all my sponsors currently, all that stuff. So right on. Thanks for sticking with it if you're still here, and peace, bros.